Hey everyone, Backpack Hack here coming at you with another trail tip. One of the things I really like about being here in the western slopes of the Rockies is waking up in the morning to that cool, crisp mountain air. Last year, however, it got down to 42 degrees, and even though I'm very comfortable in my sleep system and sleep soundly and I'm warm and comfortable, I didn't wake up refreshed. I woke up with a sore throat, I was coughing, and my sinuses were all stopped up. So I thought, oh great, I'm catching a cold. This is going to be a miserable few days until I kick it. So the first thing I did was I reached up and touched my forehead to see if I had a fever. Unfortunately, my forehead had been exposed to all that cold air during the night, so my forehead was too cold and clammy to even tell if I was running a fever. So I thought, I'll just take my temperature. And that's when I realized I didn't have a thermometer with me. So, like anything else, I put it on my list of things to rectify when I got home. I would go buy a thermometer. Now you're probably thinking, well, what's the big deal? Just go into town and buy one, right? Well, the ones the pharmacy sells are digital. The camper in me doesn't like a digital simply because I'm out here and I need to use a thermometer like I did that morning. The battery might be dead. And out here in this remote area, it's a day to go into town to buy a battery and come back. Something you don't want to do when you're sick. The prepper in me doesn't want digital because of things like EMPs, CMEs, and GRBs. I want one that will work. Yes, I have Faraday cages, and yes, probably a digital will fit in a Faraday cage. But still, I want something I know is going to work when I need it to work. What I wanted was a good old-fashioned glass tube mercury thermometer like this. This is one my parents bought when I was probably 6 or 7. I've had it ever since, and it has never failed me. The problem is, they don't sell these anymore. You can't go to the pharmacy and buy a glass tube with mercury in it unless you're buying a fluorescent light bulb. So where would I go to get something like this? So I went to the only source I could think of that sold these old thermometers, eBay. Yes, they're available on eBay. Say what you like about eBay, but I was able to find one. And I bought it. It's not exactly like the one I have, but it is still a thermometer. And then I got to thinking, well, if 2 is 1 and 1 is none, why not look for some more? And I found a third one. And this one has a hard case in it. So I thought, this is the one that I'm going to put in my camping gear. This is because of the case is going to help protect it against getting broken. And then I got to thinking, you know what? I'm set for beans, bullets, and Band-Aids. I'm now in the barter type of my acquisitions for my preps. So I ended up buying 3 more. Yes, I have a total of 6 thermometers now as part of my preps. So when you start looking for these kind of thermometers, how do you know whether they're oral or rectal? Very important distinction. There is a color code, but it isn't 100%. Generally, blue is oral, red is rectal, but that is not guaranteed. A better way to tell is to look at the shape of the bulb. If it's long and thin, it's usually an oral. If it's short and stubby, like this, it's a rectal. The reason being is you don't want to use an oral thermometer rectally because they're so thin that they might puncture the rectal wall. You want one that's short and stubby and less likely to puncture the rectal wall. However, the best way to tell is either the original instructions have the instructions in oral, it says oral right on the box, or better yet, it says oral right on the thermometer. Don't go by the listing saying it's an oral thermometer. Never assume it's oral just because the listing says so. Always do a little research and make sure you are getting the type that you want. So now that you know what to look for and how to identify the different ones, if you think this is something you want to add to your preps, go ahead and buy one. However, always assume any of them that you buy on the used market has been used rectally. And if nothing else, drop it in alcohol for an hour or so to sterilize it. Never boil one of these in water, you will destroy it. Always use just room temperature alcohol because that's what hospitals do. They just drop them in a glass of alcohol. So my goal now is, even though I have 6, I'm probably going to be on the lookout for more of them, because something like this, being able to take an accurate temperature of somebody who's ill or injured is so critical that I think getting a stockpile of these might be a good idea for future barter in SHTF. This is Backpack Hat coming at you with this trail tip. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be safe out there, be healthy, and we'll see you out on the trail.